Hi guys, I'm going to show you how I created my dog animation, so let's jump into it. I'm going to create my composition. So I have already separated my character in Illustrator, so each moving part on different layers. So do the same thing, and after you can import it into After Effects. And use composition written layer size when you import your Illustrator file, and just drag it into the timeline. I'm going to make the composition a bit longer because it's just only 20 frames. So make it a bit around 3 seconds. I'm going to go inside and Command X, grab all of the layers and I bring it into the main comp. And I can delete the composition for that and then stretch all of the layers all the way. And I lock the background. Okay, so next step I'm going to select all of the legs and I turn them into shape layers. So just right click on the layers and create shape layers, and you can delete the original layers. And I'm going to go over the neck, can be Illustrator layer, and I'm going to change the tail into shape layer. Delete the original, and the ears can be, and the head can be Illustrator layer. The next step I'm going to modify the anchor point for each layer. I'm going to change the rotation point for each layer. As you can see, the legs for the dog is a simple stroke, so I think it's just the best for this type of animation. Use a simple stroke for the leg and arms. And the next step, I'm going to parent layers to the 2 ears to the head. And the next step is tail. I'm going to select the body, select the tail to a body. Next one is the neck. I'm going to parent it to the body and parent the head to the neck. And I'm not going to parent the legs to the body, just leave it like that. And I'm going to test. Move around the body and everything moves with the body, and I'm going to test the rotation, so when I'm animating everything rotates in the right way. Looks fine. I'm going to modify the head a little bit. Yeah, it rotates much better now. Okay, so when the rotation is fine, we're going to create a keyframe for the path. Just hit the stopwatch, and we're going to select all of the legs and type path into the search bar. It's going to reveal the path details, so you don't need to do the drop down menu for all the layers. And after hit U, and just going to reveal or expose the keyframes for each layer. For the tail, we're going to use rotation, so hit R. And I have recommend you guys, I did a video about shortcuts, so if you are not familiar with the shortcuts, I would highly recommend to pause the video, and I link the video in the description below. So watch my my favorite shortcuts video, because it's going to help you a lot. So for the body, we're going to use only a position, and for the neck only a rotation. So basically each layer going to have one keyframe. So next one, we will do the first position on 0 keyframe, and from this point I will do and also I'm going to hit Command R or Control R on Windows and it brings up the ruler and just draw a horizontal line. For me, I can see where is the ground. Do the first position for my dog. So I'm also recoloring these 4 layers to be more visible for me. I can see the green is the top legs and the orange one is the back legs. And I go 5 frames in time, and I'm going to change the next position for the leg. So just follow, so try to copy my dog positions for the legs only at the moment. So on 0 frame my dog position looks fine, so I went 5 frames in time and I go over each leg and reposition into I change the legs position. A very cool way to use this stroke, if you select all of the keyframes or all of the vectors and hit Command T on Mac or Control T on Windows, you can modify multiple vector points in the same time, which is really handy. So when you hit Command T, like a box come up and you can change the anchor point for that box, and you can animate multiple vector points in the same time. So it's very handy, and you can animate vectors much faster. So use Command T or Control T when you select multiple vectors. As you can see, I use this method a lot. And you can release the selection with Enter when you're done with your repositioning. So I'm still doing all of the leg animation for my second keyframe, which is frame 5. And I can, so if you go to another leg and you go to the pen tool and click one of the vectors, and after I hit V with keyboard, and I can modify the rest of the vectors. So I started to do another animation. So the third position for the dog, I went to frame 10 and I'm animating the 4 legs for position 3. So just try to copy my position for the dog. So when I finish the third position, pause the video and you can copy the leg positions for your character. So I think that would be the easiest for you. Only one leg left for the third position. As you can see, second position, I went back a little bit and changed that leg. It's a little bit up. So try to copy this position for the third frame for your character. And we are just animating the legs, so don't animate the body or the head or the tail. Focus on the legs first. So I'll go for the 4th position, and which is frame 15, as you can see on the left hand side, and I start to animate the 4 legs again. Okay, so I go back to every time if I select a new leg, I go and select the pen tool, click on one of the vector and hit V on your keyboard, and it's going to select a simple arrow, and you can modify the rest of the vectors by yourself. And also if you want to change multiple vectors, again select multiple one and hit Command T or Control T on Windows, and you can rotate and scale and reposition that box. As you can see, I do it with that leg. You can rotate it, you can change the position, and also you can scale it from the edges. Yeah, so it should be like that. Let's copy this one for your next keyframe, and for the last position will be our first one. So you can copy your first keyframe to 1 second exactly. And I'm going to test the animation, so how it looks like. It's a little bit slow, I feel. So I'm going to push all of the keyframes 2 frames earlier, and I'm going to test the animation again. So it looks like it's a bit too fast, so I'm going to stretch the animation with again 1 frames. So I shift all of the keyframes with 1 frames and test animation again, and I think it looks nice. So the my animation ends with 20 frames. And I will start to animate the body for my dog. At the moment I'm playing with the dog animation for the body. And I select all of them and hit F9, which is easy the keyframe, and I put the 2 thing to two keyframes to be equal distance from each other. As you can see, it looks good. So again, the first keyframe in the middle and the second keyframe, which is 1 frame over my leg animation. It's on the top, so that's the toppest part, and go down, that's the lowest part in the middle. As you can see, the body is in the lowest part, and go up the top position and go back to the middle position, which is the same for first position for the body, is the same for the last one. So I go over my tail for the dog. So I select the tail layer, and I'm going to go over, and I'm going to use the rotation tool. So when the bodies go up, the tails go down, and when the body goes down, the tail is going to go up. So the tail should follow the movement for the body. You can see the body goes up, the tail go down and follows after that, and we have to follow this movement all the way. And you can copy that keyframe as well and put it there to the end. As you can see, it looks good. And also I copied the first keyframe, which I think, no, just delete that. I'm going to copy that previous keyframe, put it there, and put the little dot there, which is create a keyframe, and you can copy that keyframe to the first one. So basically I did this because it's going to be a looping animation. So I created the last keyframe there, and I copied the last keyframe to the first keyframe for the tail. And the cool thing is we can do the same thing for the ears. So you just have to copy the animation movements. Just so watch the tail animation, just do the same thing with the ears. So when the tail goes down, the ears goes down, and the same again. If the tail goes up, the ears goes up. Just copy again, and copy the previous keyframe here. And I'm going to copy the previous keyframe there again. And I'm going to create 2 keyframes there. And I'm going to grab them and put it all the way to the first keyframe. And select all of the keyframes and hit F9. So again, we did this because the first keyframe, when I start to animate the ears movement, that's just a general keyframe. So when I finish the animation for the ears, I can copy the last keyframe to override the first one to be a looping animation. And I'm just delaying, so shifting the ears to not moving, so the ears not moving in the same time, so it creates a bit more natural walking cycle for the dog. So not everything happens in the same time. So next step, for the head, I'm going to animate the rotation for the head. Actually, for the second keyframe, I think it should go down, the head should go down first. So again, so I'm going to copy the tail and the ears movement. So when the tail goes up, the head goes up. You can copy the previous keyframe there, and I'm going to copy the previous keyframe, copy there, and I create a keyframe at the end, and I can override the first keyframe to be a looping animation. And I hit 0 on a numpad or space on my keyboard It's going to animate my animation, and this is how to animate a basic cartoon walking cycle for your dog. I hope you find this useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Until then, see you guys in the next one.